G'day there, ladies and gents. It's Connie here again from Marky Industries. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Anyway, we're reading some more stories from Reddit, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, we're on Am I the A-Hole? This one was written by user ColdRiver707, and it's titled, My Stepmom Kissed My Boyfriend on the Mouth. My stepmom was drunk, but it's still crazy. My boyfriend is 26. We were celebrating my boyfriend's birthday. My stepmom loves to drink, and she's been drunk on many occasions. Usually she just becomes a louder and chattier version of herself. She's gotten angry drunk a few times too. Maybe what kind of drunk she becomes depends on her mood. I have never gotten drunk and I don't drink alcohol, so maybe I'm ignorant on its effects, but I find it hard to believe alcohol can bring this out. Please correct me if I'm misinformed. My boyfriend was sitting on a chair, but like reverse, so he had his arms crossed, resting them on the backrest, and his head was on his arms. We were watching a game on TV, and the birthday part had kind of winded down. Most of the guests were gone. I was cleaning up. My stepmom was lounging outside and smoking. I missed some of the approach, but my boyfriend said she just came up to him, and she was slurring her words, and the TV was loud, so when she said something to him, he didn't catch it, so he gestured for her to come closer and say it in his ear. She leaned in and told him, "You're so handsome, movie star eyes." He said he just smiled back up at her and kind of laughed it off. He could tell she was very drunk. The rest of it I saw for myself. He returned his attention back to the TV. She reached out and touched his chin to get him to look back at her, and then she leaned in, and my boyfriend told me she said, "Happy birthday, darling," and kissed him on the cheek, and then suddenly on the mouth. If that wasn't enough, she tried to kiss him again, on the mouth, but he pushed her face. She laughed and I was so shocked I was frozen. I don't even remember what I said, but I said something. I remember my boyfriend's friend said, "Did she just kiss you?" My stepmom just laughed it off and told us, "Don't make a big deal out of it, it was an accident." She won't so much as apologize, but when she got sober, she approached me privately to tell me not to tell my dad. Am I the a-hole if I tell my dad? Or is this really just not a big deal? I don't want to cause stress for my dad, but I think this is a little too big to file away as a drunk oopsie, her words, and just forget about it. Wow, yeah, that's something. I do find it hard to believe that it was just an accident though. I feel as though she purposefully did it, and now she's trying to play it cool as if it was an accident. And you know that saying, drunk minds speak sober thoughts? Yeah, it's hard to believe the kiss meant nothing here. One comment says, "She completely crossed the line with you, your boyfriend, and your father. My father is going through a divorce with a woman who is similar, drinks a lot, and is inappropriate. I caught her kissing a family friend on the lips many years ago. Now they are divorcing. I shared it with my father. He was upset because he said he suspected for years she was having affairs. I wish I'd called her out at the time. My father could have left her years ago. She is now testing you, and because of her behaviour, I'd put money on the fact that she will try to gaslight you to your dad moving forward. You run the risk of losing your relationship with him. I'd sit him down with your boyfriend and with her. Say that this is uncomfortable, but you'd like to put some boundaries down. She is not to flirt, kiss, or touch your boyfriend ever again. If she puts it back to being drunk, then let her know she needs to get some help on that if she's going to cross boundaries every time she drinks and can't control herself." This story sounds so fake, I'm sorry, lol. Opie says, "I rather you think it's fake, to be honest, because reading it back, I feel like I made my family seem like we're trash. I wish this didn't happen because I've never hated my stepmom, even if she drinks a lot. She made my dad a much happier person, and now I don't know how to feel about her, and I feel responsible for how my dad is going to react." Good job not drinking. It is a very good personal decision. As for your stepmom, if you're close with your dad, I would tell him. If you have a strained relationship, I would maybe think twice. Either way, she should not be around your boyfriend again until she apologizes. She replies, "Our relationship is strained, but we love each other, and I'm going to take the advice here and talk to him today. He deserves to know, and also my conscience can't take it anymore. I also think it's unfair to my boyfriend if this is not made out to be serious because he was the victim." Okay, on to an update 1 day later. Hi everyone, thank you for responding to my advice request on this sub. I got asked it a lot, so I will say it here in case my comment didn't get noticed. My dad is 43 years old, so the age difference between him and my stepmom, 38, isn't super drastic. People were wondering where he was during this. He was at work. I waited until my dad was home alone. I told him what happened. We have a rocky relationship because he has poor emotional regulation. That's why my mum left him. It's getting better between us though, since both of us have been making a conscious effort to communicate calmly, so this conversation was one that I was dreading with my dad, but it went as well as it could. My dad's first response was still to be irritable and defensive. He focused his anger, unfairly, on my boyfriend initially. I had to make it very clear that this happened unknowingly and spontaneously as far as my boyfriend is concerned, and that he was a victim in this. I also mentioned to my dad that my stepmom told me not to tell him. My dad was too angry for words and didn't say much to me. He left the house and came back later a bit more cooled off. He made me repeat the order of events again and exactly what was said. He then said the rest is between my stepmom and him, and he doesn't want me to get involved. He requested me to not have my boyfriend over for a while. I can go over to his place instead. That works out since my boyfriend doesn't feel comfortable around my stepmom anymore. You guys speculated my stepmom has a drinking problem, and she definitely does. I think it's gotten worse in the last few months. I don't know why though. I've never had any issues with my stepmom, but we're not exactly close either. One comment says, "Good for you for telling your dad. I'm sure that was an uncomfortable conversation, but it needed to be had. Yes, your stepmother has a drinking problem. That's the root cause of this situation. I'd keep your boyfriend away to make sure this doesn't happen again." Opie says, "Thank you guys for the push. I hope she gets the help she needs. But unfortunately, our relationship will never be the same, because it's been a day and she still hasn't apologized to me or my boyfriend yet." She may never apologize. Sounds like she has not yet actually owned that she's a drunk and possibly alcoholic. Good for you, telling your dad, even though the energy between you isn't always good. Your boyfriend might have a bad dream or two about this. Drunk smoker forcing a mouth kiss on him. Ugh. Yeah, onto another update, 11 days later. The title makes me gag every time. I'd wish I'd written my original post in a better state. I just wanted to come back to add something to the situation. Last update, I promise. My dad and stepmom talked privately, and although I didn't get to be part of those conversations, she did approach me afterwards requesting to make an apology. She asked me if we, my boyfriend and I, could come over to hear her out, so we did. I could tell she took time beforehand to reflect, and her apology was sincere. During the apology, she explained that she was so shocked and appalled by what she had done, she didn't want to acknowledge it or hear about it. She said she cannot explain to us why she did that, because she herself doesn't know. She said she does not remember the event either, and that has made it even more horrifying for her. She has a lot of self-loathing. She says she feels like she doesn't have any control anymore, that this was her rock bottom. She said her natural response when I brought it up was to try to reject it and push it away, or try to make light of it because any mention of it made her sick with herself. At the same time, she understands that we didn't know how she was feeling or thinking, or what was in her head. We could only judge her on her actions and behaviour. When she minimized it, asked me to hide it from my dad, and basically her dismissal and avoidance in general, it just made everything worse. It was wrong, and she does seem to recognize that. I really believe her, but also at this point, I think we're all just trying to move forward from it, knowing she did something she can never take back, like assaulting my boyfriend. She knows that she broke everyone's trust and that it will take time to repair, and also that things may never ever truly recover or be the same, and forgiveness may never happen for her. My dad genuinely believes what happened was the alcoholism and her deteriorated mental health. I didn't know this, but she's been seeing a psychiatrist on an outpatient basis, and other incidents have happened with her. Not infidelity or anything like what happened with my boyfriend, but instances where she has apparently embarrassed herself by doing things she would have never done otherwise. My dad refused to go into much detail about that in front of myself and my boyfriend though. My dad doesn't want me involved and has made it clear this is not my problem and not something I have to help with. He doesn't want that, which is a great relief. Lately, I think back a lot about how I missed so many signs. Like we're not close, but I didn't know the extent of this addiction. She drank a lot and smoked, but I always thought it's just her personality. She always looked immaculate and put together and happy. She was so functional. Well, until she wasn't. I said in my last post, but will say it again, that I only noticed her drinking as a problem in these last few months because she started getting disorganized and messy and not her usual self. They are going to separate, but my dad is going to continue to support her a bit with getting help. It's not that there's hope for reconciliation or anything. My dad said he wants to take it one step at a time. She needs to get sober first. Who she is right now is a person no one wants to be with or to be around. She has agreed to get help and comply with treatment. She's not moving out of the house immediately because the plan is to go into a treatment program. Also, she drinks so much, she's at risk for withdrawal, so she's moving into the guest room until she gets into treatment and then will not be returning home. I'm back at home again too. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I live with my dad still, but I want her to expedite moving out soon because the energy in this house just feels tainted. I also need to be away from her. Unfortunately, my boyfriend is still uncomfortable about what happened. He's been brushing it off like it's fine and he's over it now, but I think it's something he's still processing. With us, it's become awkward. I feel like there's a huge distance suddenly between us. It's hard to describe. I think it's even harder for him to articulate it to me, but it sucks because, I don't know, I feel like he's going to break up with me soon. I'm trying my best. I'm also trying to give him space and be supportive, and also let him have autonomy over this. I just feel so poorly equipped to fix things, and I know in my heart that I actually can't fix this. It's a helpless feeling. I'm sure that my family just grosses him out now, and I feel so embarrassed about it and guilty, and I feel gross myself. I wish I could wash everything away. I really need to move out. I wish this didn't happen. Anyway, so that hurts. Also, my biological mum remarried, and she's a year older than my dad. I hope that clears up any misconception about their ages. I think some people misread, so when they did the math, they kept using my stepmom's age to calculate when I was born. They were not exactly teen parents, but I honestly can't imagine having a kid at my age, so it's still crazy to me that they had me so young. Thank you again for reading and listening and pushing me to communicate. I think if my dad and I can survive this, we can probably communicate our way through anything, right? Wishful thinking. My only request is, if anyone has support or tips for dealing with a family member who is addicted to alcohol, please share if you can. The brochures I picked up are so basic. Opie adds an edit in the comments. I commented in detail, but to clarify some things further, we have not forgiven her, neither myself, my boyfriend, or my dad. My dad even said he will support my boyfriend if he wants to press charges. She knows what she did is sexual assault. As I mentioned, my dad is requesting separation. She's going into treatment and will look for a place while in treatment, using their supports for housing. I am trying to fast-track moving out and going no contact with her. I was supposed to move out with my boyfriend. We were touring apartments, and now it's different. All these things take time, unfortunately, and I'm new to navigating them and have other things going on too outside of this incident. I have intentionally left out how my boyfriend feels because it doesn't feel like my place to put words to it, especially since how we write things on Reddit can easily be misconstrued. I just shared a little bit that I felt comfortable sharing. My dad has attempted to speak to him privately, and my boyfriend did not want that, and it was respected. I've spoken to him privately. He also has good friends to lean on that can be there for him in a way I can't right now because I'm involved. He is the true victim of all of this, and I didn't mean to minimize that by not mentioning certain things. Sorry if it came across like that. I was just trying to be careful. One commenter adds, honestly, I can't really blame your boyfriend. It's great your stepmom apologized and is now seeking help. However, that doesn't instantly change how uncomfortable she made your boyfriend. I would try and reassure your boyfriend. Say, I understand you probably still feel uncomfortable being around my stepmom. I want you to know I do recognize that and will follow your lead on how you wish to handle the situation. I will not pressure you or guilt trip you if you don't want to be around my stepmom anymore. Opie replies, thank you. I understand him too, but it's one of those things you can't fix or make go away. It has to be processed by him, and if that means he needs to be away from me because of my proximity to my family, then that's totally valid. I love him, and I'm going to be so gutted, but I would also never hold that against him. Your boyfriend is uncomfortable because of the fact that you and your father are using her alcohol addiction as an acceptable reason for your stepmother to assault him in front of other people, and you're continuing to live with her and support her. The fact that your father refuses to tell you about the other incidents where she embarrassed herself, but says that they weren't cheating, means absolutely nothing. This incident wasn't cheating, it was sexual assault. The only way that you and your boyfriend can stay together is if you show him that you support him. You have to leave your father's house. Opie replies, I just want to clarify that we are absolutely not excusing her behaviour. She knows it was sexual assault, and we've only ever framed it that way, and that's why my dad has requested separation from her. I'm trying to show my support to my boyfriend to the best of my ability, and I'm also respecting his space and giving him time, because I know he can't magically be okay just because she apologized. Yeah, and as long as OP's living with the father, she's not going to be able to make any decisions with the stepmom regarding where she lives. I think the more I read, the more clear it becomes that OP needs to distance herself from this household and commit to her boyfriend. Move out. Okay, now for a final update, 20 days later. I received a few messages about this, so I'll just make a quick update. My boyfriend and I survived this ordeal, the question I got asked the most. He really just needed to be alone for a while to process and stop hearing about this, and I had a feeling he needed breathing room. That's why I moved back in with my dad to give him space. During our time apart, we did check in with each other, and after some days met up and everything just fell back into place. On the topic of place, it's not mine to attempt to put words to his feelings, but I can share this much with you guys. My boyfriend isn't interested in therapy, police reports, or anything like that for this. He doesn't want to make it bigger than it is, his words, and just wants to move past it. We're moving in together next month, as originally planned. My stepmom is still committed to going to rehab. I have no contact with her and will remain that way for the foreseeable future, but I did get her a small gift for detox as an encouragement. She started out on a wait list and had to arrange to take time off her job, but she'll be getting her bed the week after the 4th of July weekend. Clarification on the gift. I gave her a small totem as encouragement and a reminder to work towards sobriety, more specifically a painted rock, lol, that's it. Once in detox, my dad is going to move her out of the guest bedroom and she's going to work with resources at the treatment centre to find a new place to live. They are divorcing. I don't know if he'll be no contact with her or not. Our extended family on my dad's side criticised my dad for abandoning her. They're very religious hypocrites. But my dad said she needs to experience her rock bottom, and getting sober should be something she accomplishes for herself, not something she does for him or anyone else. I went to an Alcohol Anonymous meeting just to experience it with an open mind. Although it felt valuable, that one meeting, ultimately I don't see myself wanting to go again and again. I did get advice from you guys that you have to try a few different ones sometimes to find the vibe that fits you, so I'll state that here in case someone is interested. Wow, there you go, so they did end up getting divorced. I do like that sentiment of getting help for yourself, not for anyone else. I think that's a good way to look at it. One comment says, I agree that Al-Anon is not very helpful. It's about dwelling on the loved one's addiction rather than extricating oneself from it. Best of luck to you, your boyfriend and your family. These things are hard. It looks like everyone is trying to do the right thing now. Opie says, yes, dwelling on the loved one's addiction rather than extricating oneself from it is exactly how I felt about it. You put it into the perfect words. Thank you so much. I feel like I aged a few years from this experience, but I'm trying to grow from it. I think my relationship with my dad got better and stronger, and with my boyfriend too. Another comment adds, when I got engaged to my husband back in the 90s, I went to an Alcohol Anonymous meeting with him to understand my future father-in-law's behaviours due to him being an alcoholic. A functional one, but still alcoholic. I only went to one. I got enough out of that one meeting to figure out how to protect myself and my relationship with my husband. I know that isn't always the case, and my husband, who grew up living with his father, went off and on until the day his father passed. I had and have the comfort to know that those meetings are always around, and if I ever felt the need to go back, I could and can. Please keep this in mind. They are there if you eventually need it. However, it sounds like after you move out, you won't have any connection to your father's soon-to-be ex. It might be helpful for your dad, though. Once everything is settled, the divorce, the ex being in rehab, just so he knows the signs to look for if he ever chooses to have another partner in the future type thing. I wish all well to you, your boyfriend, and your father. Opie replies, thank you for giving me your perspective on Al-Anon. You make a good point, and maybe it will be suitable for my dad. It does feel reassuring to know there is always a supportive place out there should one need it. My dad is a firefighter, and I'm sure he's familiar with Al-Anon, but I'll definitely share because he's the type of person who tends to bottle up his own emotions. I'm pleasantly surprised the dad handled this as well as he could have, considering his history with OP, hoping the best for OP and her boyfriend. I find it interesting that OP's dad seems to have a decent handle on his issues. He has a temper problem and he knows that he has a temper problem, Instead of completely going off on OP, he recognizes his issue, stepped back to feel what he needed to feel, and then came back with a hard but rational approach to the situation. Yeah, I thought the same. Lessons to be taken out of all of this, I think. But yeah, what a mess. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Either way, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed that story. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.